All right, going live. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the stream. I'm Ian Douglas. I'm the author of this website, techinterview.guide, and I'm here to help you get better at tech interviews. With me down below is my friend Josh Ashton. Josh and I worked together at SendGrid back in the day. Gosh, that feels like a decade ago, because it was a decade ago. Holy cow, we're old, dude. Yeah, really good to have you on the stream. Thanks for joining us. Why don't you give us a bit of background? Like, who's Josh? What have you been up to since SendGrid, like before and after all this stuff?
Yeah, sure. Always great to be here with you, Ian. See you again, reconnect a little bit. It was 10 years ago that in fact, we started, I think, like a week apart from each other.
That's
Really
right. Yeah.
close days.
Yeah.
And then I think just overall, I've got a couple of decades of experience in the world of HR. Kind of basically came out of school into the field. And I've spent most of my career working for tech startups, that space. So I just love kind of that stage and size of companies and staying in the software world and helping companies kind of grow up, mature, make sure they keep the right culture, hire really well, those sorts of things.
Yep. Awesome. That's great. Yeah, Josh and I actually worked decently close together. I think mostly my first 2 years at SendGrid, when I was like really helping out with the hiring of the engineering team. I helped hire, gosh, I don't know how many, couple of dozen people maybe. Feels like a lot. And then once I moved out to Colorado, maybe not so much. I think by then you had built up a really cool group of people around you to help with recruiting and some really great folks on that team. I remember scaring the pants off of Josh Anderson. Be like, don't mess this up. he was a third-party recruiter coming in, and I'm like, I hate third-party recruiters. Like,
right.
You will treat SendGrid with respect. And he's like, oh my God, who's this guy?
Well, and I think I would send everybody that we hired on the talent team to go see you just to get a good sense for what not to do. I don't know.
Right. Yeah, good times, good times. Yeah, I haven't stayed in contact with too many folks at SendGrid, and you stayed a while after I left. I left in, I guess, the summer of 2015, I think, or yeah, 2015. You stayed a lot longer than that. Did you stay close to the acquisition to Twilio, or how long were you there?
Just before all that, so I left in late summer 2017.
Okay.
So right before the IPO, and then subsequently the acquisition. So
okay, awesome.
About six years total is when I was there.
Cool. We had a bit of a running joke in the SendGrid office because Josh was based here in Colorado, and when I started with SendGrid, I was out in California, and we always had this joke that if Josh ever showed up at the office wearing a black shirt, like it was going to be a bad day for somebody. Not Josh, but it was going to be a bad day for somebody. And I lost count of how many times I was joking of like, buying you like the Grim Reaper costume. But I mean, letting people go is a part of the job, unfortunately. And later in my career, actually my next job after SendGrid, I got to taste that side of it of letting someone go, and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. And like I had to let two people go like back to back, almost I think like a week or 2 weeks apart. And after the second one, my CEO came up to me at the time. He's like, "So who are we firing today?" I'm like, "Dude, like this is killing me. Like don't joke with me about that. I hate letting people go. It's like awful. I don't think I could ever do HR. Like just being part of that side of things. Like I know it's a responsibility to the business, but man, not something I would want to do for sure."
No, yeah, and you never really quite get used to it, and it's just tough. It's people's lives, and what my job was really just to make sure that it wasn't a surprise, and would really test that as well. I would always ask hiring managers if they thought that this person, knew that they weren't, that they weren't performing or whatever the situation was, and oftentimes you get the, "Oh, they know," and I was like, "No, I don't think so."
So do they really know?
Yeah, I would always push that pretty hard just because that's the worst case scenario is you get surprised by that news. So
yeah, for sure. Cool. Well, down at the very bottom left corner, you can see a sample of the 3D printed dragons and the horses that we got given away. And just for Josh's sake, because I don't think Josh has even seen these yet, I got these really cool like 3D printed dragons.
Oh, neat.
And basically, when you pick them up off the printer, they move. So we call this an uh, uh, articulated model. And they come out in some pretty fantastic colors. This one's kind of a solid color, but it's got a bit of a sparkle in there. And then we can get into some really interesting filaments that do things like, they change rainbow color kind of over time. And then that led to some of my favorite filaments now, which are kind of this red and gold, and then this other one, which is kind of a bronze, rust, charcoal kind of color. And so I've got a dozen of these to give away. And so basically what we're going to do for the night is Josh and I are basically going to mimic, and part of this is just as part of my stream, I like to educate people on tech industry. We're going to mimic what happens when somebody applies for a job. That resume ends up in an applicant tracking system, and then Josh from HR is going to get like a list of resumes, and we're going to screen these resumes as HR. And then Josh is going to say, I think we should call this person. Let me hand that resume off to my hiring manager, Ian, and then I'm going to take a look at it. And then we're going to discuss, Josh, what did you like about this resume? What didn't you like about this resume? Or would you call this person or not? And so I'm going to have those up on the screen as soon as I figure out how to get my browser window working on here again, because it seems to have shut off. But I will get that figured out very soon. And so we're just going to like go through a whole bunch of resumes. We're not going to spend a ton of time on them, but I do appreciate everybody that submitted a resume. If you do want a full resume review, I've dropped a link in the Twitch chat. And so if you're watching this on YouTube, you can check for the URL in the bottom right corner of the screen. And basically, you can upload a resume to me at techinterview.guide/streaming. There's a form on that page to upload a resume to me, and I'll actually do a full resume review on stream for you. And I do it free of charge. The only thing I ask is that you anonymize your name, your email address, and your phone number. Some of the people that submitted their resume tonight didn't do that, and so it's on them. You're going to see their real name. Please don't harass them and don't like sign them up for any like email lists that they shouldn't be on. Even if you think they should be on that mailing list, please don't. Yeah, Zooey in chat, good to see you, bud. You're here for the hidden knowledge. Zooey loves hanging out on chat, and Zooey always asks really great questions as well. First time chat from Creative Null. You're only here for the dragons. That's fine. You get to listen to some resume reviews, because in between each of those resume reviews, we're going to draw some names. So down at the very bottom left corner of the screen, you see a sample of the dragons. If you want to see some up close, I'll hold them up close to the camera. Otherwise, at the very top right corner of the window, you'll see you got to type bang ticket or bang enter. Bang is just the exclamation point. Type that in chat and you'll get a ticket. You can only enter one time. And so I'm going to basically draw names over time. And so your chances of winning one of these dragons is a lot better earlier in the stream than later in the stream when other people show up. So you got a pretty good chance right now of winning a dragon. So go ahead, see a couple of people have got their entries in, and we'll go from there. Now, if you're watching on Twitch and you don't have a Twitch account, you can't participate. So if you want to win one of these 3D printed dragons, you will need to make a Twitch account, come back to the stream so that you can do the bang enter or the bang ticket in order to participate in the giveaway. And it's how the software works. I don't control that. So if you do want to win one of these, you can do that. If you're watching this on YouTube later, hey, like and subscribe, but you're out of luck. You weren't here. You got to be here live. I've been promoting this for a little while now. But Creative Null asks, am I too late for submitting my resume? We've already got the resumes for tonight, but if you want to send it to me anyway, I'll get it on a future stream. So I stream Sunday night and Thursday night at this time. So every Sunday, every Thursday, I'm here, and I'm talking about some kind of like tech interview prep. Whether it's a resume review or cover letters, or we'll talk about equity or negotiations, all that fun stuff. And I also talk about, why I ask particular questions. And you can also submit questions to me as well. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, and you can ask me questions over LinkedIn. You can ask me questions over Twitter. Same handle, Ian Douglas 736 on Twitch, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So you can DM me anytime if you've got questions. If you do ask a question on a private channel like that, I never say your name, but if you ask in chat, then I'm going to say, hey, Creative Null asked this question, or Zooey asked this question. But if you send me a private question, I may address it on the stream, but I'm never going to say your name. So I'm a big fan of, like, if you ask me privately, I'll answer publicly, but your name will remain private. So cool. All right, well, let me see if I can get my browser window working here in the broadcast software, and then we will get started. Let's see, why isn't that showing up?
Do you have some more dragons printing there in the back there, Ian?
I do.
some.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, well, actually, the printer right behind me, I'm actually 3D printing some really big blocks with alphabet letters. My niece is turning 3 in January, so I'm 3D printing a bunch of toys and stuff like that for her. And then the other two printers, well, this one you can see, but the other one off screen, they are also 3D printing these same dragons, but in different color mixes for family members. And then the printer way down at the end is just off for now. So. But yeah, 3D printing is a lot of fun. It's pretty simple to get into it. It's relatively inexpensive to get into as a hobby. Why can't I find the right browser window? All right, let me try. I will figure this out. I promise. It's not that one. It won't be that one. It's going to be a Chrome window. There it is. All right. Cool. Let me get this centered here on the screen, and then we will get started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to randomly pick a number from 1 to 12. So we had 12 resumes submitted, and I'm going to randomly pick a number from 1 to 12. And then Josh is going to open that resume and go, yeah, okay. But even if Josh says, no, I wouldn't call this person, I'm still going to put it on the screen and we're going to discuss why. So either way, we'll go from there. And then when I show it on the browser, then we'll pretend that Josh has handed that off to me and I'll glance at it and we'll go, and you'll get my impression of, yeah, I'd call them, or no, probably not. And then again, we're going to discuss like what Josh would look for and what I would look for. And then we're going to do a giveaway. So there's only 6 people entered right now. You got a really good chance of winning a dragon. You got a 1 in 6 chance right now. So if you're hanging out in chat, do a exclamation point ticket or exclamation point enter. Get your name in the drawing. I got a lot of these things to give away, and you can only get 1 ticket. So if you try more than once, it'll tell you you can't. Cool. All right. So Josh, let's let me find some nerd dice. Nerd dice.
Hey, real quick question, Ian.
Yeah.
Is this in reference to sort of a general position, or are you just saying generally speaking, do you like the resume, or are we supposed to kind of match it to an engineer role? Or...
Let's pretend it was a role at SendGrid. Just a general engineering kind of role, okay. or general like tech type of role. So someone in a development type of position. Yeah, we'll go with that. Let me just resize this again. There we go. All right. So nerd dice. So I got this big, chunky nerd dice. And we're going to go with number 6 to start.
Okay.
So Josh is taking a peek at it. It's been...
And I haven't looked at any of these before, so
it's been 5 seconds. What's your impression? Yes or no?
Oh, I'm on the clock, right?
We're all on the clock.
I would say I'm interested in it for sure.
Yep. All right. Yeah. Cool. Let's zoom in a little bit. I like the layout. Some of the layout's a little but let's see, skills block at the top and then projects, which is what I look for. So, if I'm looking for a Rails developer, yeah, I would call this person. So let's dive in a little deeper on Jacob's resume. What do you like about Jacob's resume? What stands out to you, Josh?
Well, first I just kind of look at aesthetics. I think it's fairly well organized, structured. There's not as much creativity to the layout per se, but I would say it's all there. It's structured. It's organized in a way that you can easily scan through it without getting lost. It's an interesting kind of combo of projects and experience. Sometimes you just see the chronological, and then somewhere, maybe in a cover letter up top, there's projects. But often I see resumes that go really hard one way or another. Like they're very skills or projects based resume, and then you kind of have to figure out where they worked and when it was and all that. This one does have a nice little balance of two. I don't know how scalable that resume format is, if this person, 20 years in their career, if they want to keep the same format or not. But I think that the balance there is pretty nice and easy to consume.
Cool.
And And then yeah, I like the skills up top. Sometimes it's nice when people have those kind of like the dots or the stars of like how skilled they are in those versus just saying
Mm.
that they're there. So I don't know how strong this person is in the variety of technologies. But
Cool. Yeah. So like just scanning through really quick, I see skills and then I see projects, and because I see that, my mind immediately goes to they're probably a new grad, because otherwise I would expect work experience to kind of sort of overrule their project work. And so they're probably new in their career or they're a brand new grad. And then as I look at the experience, I realize none of this experience is really technical. And so then I would look at education and go, okay, it looks like they went to Turing in Denver, or remotely in this person's case. And so then I would go back up to the skills and go, okay, well, if I'm looking for a Rails developer, I see test-driven development, which I love, service-oriented architecture. I mean, they've got a lot of the skills that I would be looking for, and some that maybe I wouldn't have expected from an entry-level dev, like SOA and TDD. A lot of schools don't teach that, and Turing does put a focus on those, and so this would stand out to me, and I would be specifically asking questions like, tell me how you tested some things, tell me what you built in service-oriented architecture, why was that important to you, and then maybe ask some questions about their projects. In this case, I like that they have both a GitHub repo and a Heroku deployment, which means I get to experience the code live. So not only can they write code, they can actually deploy it, and I know that they can write working code, which for me is a plus, right? Because my kids can put code on GitHub if I show them how, but it doesn't mean that they can write working code. Where if you got it deployed somewhere and I can actually go click through pages and like log in and do something, then I know you can write working code. It may not be like the most awesome, scalable kind of technology, but I wouldn't expect that from an entry-level dev anyway. But a lot of those workflows of how did you even get that deployed would really stand out to me as a hiring manager.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a couple of things for me. Just now that I've had a little more time to consume it, and based on your commentary, it's obvious to see that they're a recent Turing grad. And so one of the things that I see a lot of resumes that are coming right out of coding schools or Turing or whatever, which is a really great sign that the pipeline's getting built up. Yeah. The talent pipeline, at least entry level, is getting built up. One thing that I would like to potentially see here is, sometimes it can come across kind of canned, but is some sort of introduction. Like maybe Jacob doesn't have a cover letter written, so it'd be nice to have a little bit of an intro or a bio up front.
Okay.
And particularly not in a buzzwordy, here's why I'm great, but here's what makes me unique, or especially how this person sets them apart from their peer group coming out of Turing. I think would be really interesting to know and see.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And just one other thing that I really liked is oftentimes it's hard, especially from a non-technical user like myself, to understand the business case, or like what's the project that they're working on, or what's the what problem are they trying to solve, or what product are they trying to build, what does it do in layman's terms versus just what's the technology you built it on.
For sure.
So I really like that. It's like, here's what we were trying to do or build from a business sense, and then here's how we use the technology to do so.
Yeah, we can see that a little bit with, let me just zoom in a little bit for others to see. When we look at the projects, Sweater Weather, for example, a RESTful API to serve road trippers with endpoints returning JSON is like, yeah, you lost most non-technical people right there. But the viewing party one down here, it's a web app for scheduling movie watch parties with other users on the site. Like, that's more everyday language that anyone's going to understand. And so folks need to remember, if an HR person's looking at your resume, they're not going to understand necessarily. Some of them will. But some of them are not going to understand the technical terminology. They're just going to look at it and go, sure, okay, I guess they're smart. I guess I'll, pass them on. And so with the idea of having that summary at the top, it is a way to differentiate yourself. One thing that I typically coach is if you're a new grad, like if an entry-level role, skip the summary and write a cover letter where you can actually explain in a lot more detail, like who you are, why you're a good fit for that role. and then use the resume to show off more of your project work. And so I would hope with a resume like this that they would also be adding a cover letter. Is there anything before we move on? Is there anything on this that stands out that you don't like about the resume, Josh? Or something that you would advise like changing, like don't do that.
Yeah, I guess not necessarily anything like that stands out. I think that I think what's missing is some sort of introduction or something. Like, tell me more about Jacob as a person, not just
Yeah.
the professional.
Cool. The only thing that concerns me is right at the very top. It says Colorado based. So if you're looking for a remote job, that's fine. They're going to know where you're based and what time zone you're in, but it can subject you to geographic bias. Like, some people are going to look at that and go, I don't feel like relocating a junior dev from, Colorado if we're in like Philadelphia or something, like, and they just pass on you and you have no idea why. And they're just like, no, we're not going to move forward. And you don't know that it was because of geography. And so I would generally tell people, like, don't put location on your resume at all. Or if you're looking for a job in Philadelphia, put Philadelphia on the resume and write in the cover letter something like, I'm already planning a move to Philadelphia, and so I'm looking for work in that area. And then they're like, oh, you're already moving here. Okay, cool. And then later you can negotiate, by the way, since I'm moving there, you want to kick in some moving expenses or something like that. You can always hit them up for that later, but make them think you're already planning on going there. Otherwise, again, it can subject you to geographic bias. So.
Yeah, great point.
Cool. Awesome. All right, well, let's do a giveaway, and then we will... oh, wait. I have to close the giveaway in order to pick somebody. Let's do this. Josh, give me a number from 1 to 7.
7.
7. HVMP TV. You are the winner. So HVMP TV, who is in chat. You are here for sure. They also asked some questions in... yeah, you are a winner. They also asked some questions in chat. And then I'll ask those questions. I'll let Josh noodle on those while HVMP lets me know like what kind of dragon they want. So I've got dragons that are 18 inches long and some that are almost 24 inches long. The smaller ones will come with extra horse figurines. And so I have a collection of Pegasus horses, unicorns, and Pegasus unicorns. And so if you elect for a shorter dragon, you will also get a selection of horse figurines. If you want a larger dragon, then you may get fewer of those. And every box, for tonight only, will get a handful of these 3D printed snowflakes. I made like 100 of these in expectation we were going to sell them at my kid's school, and they postponed our winter festival into the new year. And so instead of having some cool like decorations to hang up for the holidays, it's going to happen after the holidays. So I'm going to give you like a handful of these in every box. And so you are going to get a box in the mail that will look something like this. It might have that logo on it, or it might just be a little brown box, but you're going to get a box about this size. And it's going to have a dragon and maybe some horse figurines. And so HVMP, do you want like a rainbow colored dragon? Do you want one with a rust red charcoal? I've got the blue sparkly one. I've also got one that is that changes color based on temperature. So it's kind of a matte army green when it's cool. When it gets warm, it turns rose. When it gets hot, it turns yellow, which is a really neat effect if you put it near a window or near a heat source. 18-inch rainbow with, yep. So the 18-inch rainbow dragon, so you will get this lovely fine dragon right here, and I will throw in a handful of those figurines. So let me just write down that name, HVMP TV, and then HVMP. DM me on Twitch and give me an address. Let me know where to send this because I got to box it up and mail it to you. So I need a full mailing address of how to get this to you. So rainbow 18-inch. All right, cool. Let's and then HVMP. You get to choose a random number between 1 and 12. You get to pick our next resume. So give us a random number from 1 to 12 that is not 6 because we've already done number 6. We'll wait a moment for that chat to go through. Pick number 7 is new lucky number. All right, or their new lucky number. All right, Josh, let's look at resume number 6 or number 7.
7. Okay.
Good thing we got background music while Josh is
am
scanning the
I get,
resume here.
am I taking too long?
No, it's all good. It's all good. I mean,
Uh,
the rumor is that HR only scans these things for 6 to 10 seconds, and you're disproving that rumor. So
that's true. I might have come to a conclusion, but I'm still
all
scanning.
right.
Um,
Well, it is a longer resume for sure.
yeah, I think that's probably why I'm taking a little bit longer.
Yeah,
I'm a maybe. I'm a
maybe.
maybe. I'd probably put it in kind of the maybe pile. It would take me a little bit longer to kind of get into, but that's just first
Yep.
impression.
Cool. I
And
mean, I pull it up and I look at it. I see a skills block right away, and I see work history, where they're doing like technician work, PCB technician, electronics technician, and so on. It's like, okay, well, if I was hiring for a developer, I don't see a lot of development experience at the top, but we do see like that summary at the top that Josh likes to see, and so I might scan over that and just look at strengths in communication, problem solving, design, troubleshooting, but a lot of hardware kind of background, and which is fine. Um, and so if this were a hardware role, then yeah, absolutely. I mean, I see tons of experience as a hardware developer, hardware designer, and then other interesting things like videographer, darkroom technician. A lot of experience going all the way back to 2000. Um, Now, one thing I would generally advise folks on is like only give me a resume of what's relevant to my job. Like if I don't do anything with photography, telling me that you did darkroom technician stuff, that means nothing to me. Like literally, it's worthless information. It's information, but it's not of any use to my business. And so, I would actually coach you to take that off the resume, um, and only leave on here what would be relevant to the role for which you're applying. That would be kind of my take from there. But I mean, definitely a ton of experience. Now they've got a background in computer science. Oh, they're in a computer science program now. That's why they know programming. See,
yeah,
this is why it sometimes takes us a minute to look at a resume and really put all the pieces together and go, oh, that's how you know programming, because you got all this background as a hardware tech, and I'm like, there's nothing in your work experience that tells me where you're learning or where you're using these programming skills. I got to look
and
at this, computer science over here on the side. Go ahead, Josh.
that's why yeah, it's super important. Like that's a unique part of Roger's experience and background, right? So you want to like that you should pull out to the very front. Like
Yeah.
professional summary doesn't necessarily need to be a summary. It's just like here's me, here's my current situation. I'm a recent or I'm about to graduate in this with a background in as an E or ME technician.
Right.
And because of that, here's what I'm looking to get accomplished. Here's what I'm looking for. That if you tell that story right up front and don't bury it, don't bury the headline. Is what I'm thinking.
Right.
That really would help. I think this resume.
Yeah, and in this case, they did bury that headline. It's the very last sentence of that professional summary, which I missed until you said, "Oh, it'd be nice if they actually said." And then I got looking at it, I'm like, "Oh, they did say they're completing a bachelor's degree in computer science." Start with that, and just say, I'm completing a degree in computer science, but I have this other really rich background in engineering and problem solving and so on. Like, tell me all that after the fact, but the first thing I should see is, oh, computer science. And I agree with Josh. I think that computer science education should be the first thing underneath that summary. Like, so it's right in our face. Like, I am currently in a computer science program. Because then otherwise we're hunting over this whole thing going, why is a hardware person applying for this job? And so it's easy to confuse us and easy for us to go, it's a hardware person. Like, I'm not going to call them. And Rogers
Right.
and Rogers going to get bypassed and have no idea why, when they built a resume going, I put computer science on there, but it wasn't easy for us to see really quickly. And we're not spending a ton of time on these. We've got hundreds of these to get through. We're not spending that kind of time.
Yeah, and to make a finer point on that, reading, and this is like kind of going back to writing a really good intro or summary or cover letter for that matter, is I think that the summary sort of reads well, but it starts getting into like buzzwordy stuff, communication, problem solving, troubleshooting, and I get there and I kind of like, oh, it's one of those summaries, and I stopped reading, and that's
Ah,
why I missed
yeah,
that last sentence.
that's good.
Is I kind of got like my mind shortcutted, and I was like, oh, it's just a canned summary,
Right.
and I'm gonna move on, and I
That's true.
lost that last sentence.
It's really good. It's really easy for us to tune out. Like as humans, we're not reading every word on this page. The automated system is scanning all the words on this page. And so if we go in and we say, find us someone with a computer science background or some kind of programming background, like I'm looking for somebody with Python, this resume would come up. But then we're going to look at it and go, okay, well, I see Python in the skills block, but like none of this experience has anything to do with Python. Like, why would I call this person? Because it's that difficult for us to pick up at a glance because we're not going to spend minutes reading every single resume. We literally don't have the time for that. Um, Josh, what would you like in your current role in HR right now? If you were to post like a developer type of position, how many resumes on average do you think you would get? Like dozens, hundreds?
Not hundreds,
Okay.
dozens.
Mm-hmm.
It depends on the level, of course, but let's just call it a mid or senior. Um, and maybe my company doesn't have a strong employment brand. I would say that it's more in the dozens, and then quality of those dozens is probably fairly low. So,
Okay.
in other words, the point I'm making is it's typically more of a headhunting recruiting deal that I need to go outbound, and I'm not going to rely on inbound applications, which is another like hard thing because people will typically not pay attention to what's coming in inbound because they think that the quality is low, or they're just so accustomed to it not being quantity or quality being high that they are just in outbound mode anyway. And you might have a really good person sitting there and you're just overlooking.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, so my advice to Roger would be if you're in a computer science program and you're working on project work, get that project stuff on the resume and make it maybe a little bit like Jacob's resume, where you're highlighting the project work, like how you're using these new programming skills, because then I would see that as a programmer's resume, where right now just, okay, you're a hardware tech and you're applying for a programmer job. And now I've got to like go look for that data. You need to make my life easy when you're writing up these resumes. So again, also like kind of whittling it down to only the relevant information that I would need to see for that role. What are my expectations? What tech stack am I looking for in the job post? You need to highlight that stuff on the resume. If I'm talking a lot about, hey, at Acme Inc., we love working as a team, well, then get some group projects on there. If we're like, yeah, we're kind of team based, but everybody's remote and you can work remote, then put some solo projects on there to let me know that you can get stuff done by yourself. And so those are kinds of things that you need to draw out of the job post in order to craft a really good resume that we look at and go, yeah, this person, we absolutely should call them. Yep. It's me, CSV says in chat, just starting the job search out of Turing. This is very helpful. Awesome. Well, thanks for dropping by. I appreciate seeing you in chat. All right, let's do one more resume or one more giveaway. So we have, let's see, we have 8 entries now. So let's see, Josh, give me a random number from 1 to 8.
Let's do 3.
3 is Creative Null. Creative Null is a winner. If Creative Null is in chat, Creative Null, you still with us? Drop a note in chat. Let us know you're there. And then you will get to choose between the large dragon, which is 24 inches long, or a shorter dragon, 18 inches long. I've got a lot of them in different colors. And if you choose the shorter one, I'll also throw in a handful of those little horse figurines. But Creative Null, you got to be in chat. There they are. All right, hooray! So Creative Null, do you have a preference over like big dragon, little dragon, and like what color you want? I've got rainbow. I've got that blue sparkly one in the large size. I've got a whole bunch of these red and gold ones in both large and small size. I have a bunch of those rust-colored ones. I've got that temperature changing one. Do you have any preference, Creative Null? Your stream is lagging. That's okay. We'll wait for you. So let me know if you want like big dragon, little dragon, and like what kind of color pattern. I've got, I think, one rainbow one left. I got one rainbow. I got a handful of the rust ones, a bunch of the red and gold, like kind of fire. I've got one in the blue sparkly. I've got one in the temperature change. I got one that's kind of a black shiny sort of filament. So you can pick the color. Let me know in chat as your stream catches up. You'd like the temperature changing one. All right, awesome. So I will set that one aside for you. Sounds pretty cool. And then I will also throw in some of the temperature changing horses and Pegasus for you as well. And I will set that aside. All right, awesome. And then Creative Null, you get to choose a random number between 1 and 12 for our next resume.
But not 6 or 7, right?
But not 6 or 7. So less and less random number. It will get more deterministic over time. It will be a pseudo-random number for the foreseeable future. So go ahead and just drop a number in chat for us, Creative Null, and let us know which resume we're going to look at next. So any random number, number 10. All right, thanks for sending that in. We will pull up number 10. I'm going to try not to look at it too much so we get Josh's first impression. So Taiwanese name, good to see you in chat. And yes, Josh is an HR representative. So he and I worked together at a previous job, and he comes from like several decades of HR experience. And so we're getting an HR rep's sort of glance at a resume of what stands out to Josh as being like, yeah, this resume is good, or no, I probably wouldn't call them, and this is why. And then hand it off to me as a hiring manager and get my impression on it as well. So these are kind of rapid fire. It's not as in-depth as I would normally do in a resume review. But it's just kind of like first take, and this is typically what we go through in a real scenario. So if this, if Taiwanese name was John Peterson, for example, then this is how we would be scanning your resume and sort of screening your resume to figure out, do we even call you? So Josh, first impressions, you gonna call this person? Yeah, you gonna call him?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, cool. What stands out about the resume? What do you like about it?
It's again, the structure is nice. I like the kind of different compartments. It's easy to digest, just visually. I'll probably be a little bit repetitive here. I like the intro. It's actually a little bit. It feels like a human wrote it, and it feels like it's personal, without being too long. Let's see. Can quickly, it's similar to the first resume we saw, right? It was sort of this mixture of projects and some professional work. So I immediately was like, oh, this is another Turing grad potentially, and it was as I scanned down. And I do like the way that they have broken out the skills in easier to consume ways between language frameworks. That's helpful for me because sometimes if it's just a laundry list of things and it's everything from a language to a framework to a practice or whatever, test or whatever, this helps me consume that information easier too.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of resumes too where they mix that skills thing, like it's like you say, kind of that laundry list, but it's like language, framework, methodology, language, another framework. It's like group them up together so we can see all the languages in one place. Group up all your frameworks. Yeah, I agree. It's a really good skills block. I like adding a little bit of color in here too. The fact that they got that little bit of green, I think is nice. They do have the location on there, which I would typically say, don't do. But yeah, really clean layout. I really like it. Some of the bullet points get a little long. People scanning a resume, they're only going to pick up the first 5 or 6 words of a bullet point. And so if they're literally scanning really quickly to go, where has John in this case used Rails, I'm only like scanning the first like inch or two down those bullet points going, okay, I see Rails. Yeah, let's give this person a call. But I'm not spending time like reading the whole thing until I actually get ready to give you that phone call. Then I'm actually reading the whole thing, probably for the first time, top to bottom. But just for a quick scan, like I need to be able to find that content really quick. I think the summary is a little bit long, and I would actually coach John in this case, take that last sentence off the summary. When you apply for a job, you should be telling them what you bring to the team, not what you want from them. You should never have an ask on your resume. Like, this is what I want from your company. It should always be, this is what I'm bringing to the company. This is how I'm going to help you. This is how I'm going to make things better. That's what's going to differentiate you and make you stand out to me as a hiring manager, is like, how are you going to help me? How are you going to make my job easier? How are you going to make our team better? But by asking for things either in the cover letter or the resume, then it's like, okay, like, yes, it is a give and take, but I think the resume should just be, this is what I bring. Now, and I typically coach, the only thing you should ask for in the cover letter is a phone call. Just say, call me. That should be the only ask in your application. Other than that, it should all be presenting like, this is what I bring, this is who I am, this is the background that I have, to help us like see that you're standing up. So.
Yeah. Plus, that last sentence is like, yeah, who wouldn't want to work in a
Right.
collaborative, values-oriented, agile, who grows their developers?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Not
if it's
me.
something, if
Nah.
it's something specific, like if you really want to be specific about here's exactly what I'm looking for, maybe that. But I agree.
Right.
I
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with you.
Cool. When do we actually look at the cover letter, Josh? That's a great question from Dangerbox in chat. When do you actually look at a cover letter or look for a cover letter on the application?
Yeah, great question. I'm a it's sometimes like it's a there's an argument in I think recruiters or HR folks or just I mean whoever's looking at resumes of like, do you like a cover letter? Is it a waste of time? I'm a big fan of cover letters, so for me the answer is I'll always look at it, and sometimes I like to look at it first just because it sets this stage for me, and it gives me context, right? So that when I'm looking at a resume, I'm already filling in some of the gaps there or blanks. But the only other, if I don't read it first and I'm jumping into a resume first, maybe I didn't see that they had a cover letter. One of the things that will trigger me to look for a cover letter, I think Ian talked about in the first resume, which is like if I see anything that's kind of like, how would I, how do you explain that? Like maybe there's a big gap in um, since they've last worked. Maybe it's like the last job was 2018 and it's not because they've been in school or whatever. And I'm kind of scratching my head a little bit. I will look to the cover letter and I'm like, God, I hope it's there
Hmm.
because otherwise I might just move on. Like that's
Right.
a pet peeve of mine. If there's something glaring there and you've had other people look at it and you're like, oh, you need to explain this part because people will assume things. You put it in your cover
That's
letter
fair.
and your intro. Otherwise, I'm moving on.
Yeah, that's fair. DG776 asks a great question in chat too, or just makes a comment. Says, I usually don't post cover letters unless I badly want the job. Yeah, I mean, if you're applying for the job, we assume you want the job. Like from our perspective, we assume that yeah, you applied, you want the job, so that's what's going to help encourage us. But we also want to see like, is your career headed in the same direction as we are? Like, is there sort of alignment? Not to be all buzzwordy, but is there alignment between where you're telling us you're taking your career and where we're headed as a company? To go, yeah, this looks like a good fit, not just because you have the technical skill, but because you care about the same things we care about. And the best place to do that is in a cover letter. If you just shoot us a resume, even if you have a little summary on there, it doesn't really tell us that much about you. But if your resume like really stands out, we're going to get you on the phone. Then you can tell us what you would have put in the cover letter anyway. So yeah. Zooey asked a question for Josh. How much say do you have in hiring a person throughout the hiring process? Like after you talk to a potential hire, do you still have a say in whether we should hire them or not?
Well, I do in my role, or maybe over the last decade or so, because I've kind of stepped into a little bit more of a hiring leadership type of role, right? So I have a little bit more influence. But I would say recruiters often, I, I would say that you will know if they do because they're staying in contact with you. They're giving you good feedback. They are the one that's sort of this communication hub between what's going on in the interview. So I would say if your recruiter is really actively communicating with you throughout the life cycle, they do have an influence on the decision. I think seniority of recruiters makes a difference there as well. If you're working with a fairly junior recruiter, maybe who've just joined the company, I would say that they are influential on this first part, but then they kind of are continuing to look at additional resume screening, and they're not active in the actual interviewing or hiring stage. Last thing I'll say here is I when I like hire a recruiter or when I'm recruiting myself, I coach them or push the recruiters to have a voice and to not just be a resume screener or like I can go out and find someone, but I want them to become hiring experts. And so their opinion matters at the beginning, the middle, and the end.
Awesome. Great. Thanks, Josh. All right, Josh, it is time for a giveaway. What just happened? Sorry, one of my window browsers is talking to me and I don't know where it is. It's always fun. It's like there's a browser making sound, and I have no idea where that browser is. Thankfully, Chrome has the little speaker icon in the tab, but it doesn't help when you've got like 30 Chrome windows open.
Welcome to my world.
Out there, we'll get there. But Josh, give me a random number. I think the last I saw we had like maybe 9 or 10 entries.
Okay. Let's do 5.
Number 5. I got like tons of windows open here. Number 5 is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. IDA Dev. Ida Dev. Ida Dev. You are a winner if you're still in chat. Drop a message in chat. Let us know you're there. Well, 30 tabs seems low. Yeah, 30. I've got 30 tabs open in like 10 different browser, like actual windows. Ida Dev is here. Hooray. Right, Ida Dev. You get to choose the size of the dragon and the color scheme of the dragon, and then you'll get to choose the next resume that we work on. So while you drop that content in chat for us, also send me a direct message on Twitch to send me a mailing address as well, so I know where to send this. And while you do all of that, I'm going to continue to hunt for this browser window that's making noise at me. I hear my own voice coming from this other browser window, and I have no idea why, but it's annoying. I want it to stop. Oh, I think I found it. There we go. Yay. All right, Ida Dev, can you have the blue one? So are you asking for the giant blue, dark blue, sparkly dragon? Is this the one you would like? This one is a fantastic filament. Yeah, it's a really, really nice sparkle. It's hard to see on the camera. Like, the camera will not do it justice, but it's a really nice kind of cobalt blue. It's got a very light sparkle in it. It's got kind of like a dark cyan sort of sparkle. Awesome. I will set that aside for you. And as a reminder, everybody's also getting like a handful of these snowflakes because I made way too many of them. All right, so you want the cobalt blue. All right, awesome. And by the way, I've also got a really big giveaway as part of all of this. And so at the end of the night, I'm going to draw a new name from like everybody that entered. So you might win 2 things if you previously won. But I'm not going to show that just yet. But it's pretty freaking fantastic. It's also a dragon theme, but I'm not going to tell you what it is just yet. All right, so Ida Dev, you get to pick the next resume that we work on. So we need a random number between 1 and 12 that is not 6, 7, or 10. So drop a number in chat for us, and we will carry on from here. And Josh and I are going to get faster at going through these because, you know, we won't want to repeat ourselves on these. So don't worry that it's taking us this long to get through them. The pace is definitely going to pick up as we go. Number 9. All right, Josh, we got number 9.
Okay.
And if you forget to send me the mailing address, I will try to contact you on Twitch. I've got all your usernames written down. So just watch for like a direct message from me if you don't send me your mailing address. I will track you down. I want to make sure that I can get these mailed out to everybody, hopefully in time for the holidays.
Yeah, it's
What do you think, Josh?
another yes.
Oh, suddenly
yeah,
I can't hear Josh.
Oh no.
Shoot, is that me? How about now? Josh, can I hear you now?
I'm not sure. Can you hear me now?
I can't hear Josh. You all hear Josh? All right. So it's me. It's not you, it's me. This happened earlier too. How about now?
How about now?
Josh? Ah, dang it. Why can't I hear you?
No, yes, no, maybe so.
Oh, noes. All right, let me check. check one more thing here. Can you try and... Well, no. Josh, say something?
Yep. Can you hear me
your
now?
audio is definitely going through. Why can't I hear Josh? Dang it. All right. Try and reload the screen. How about now, Josh? Josh, can you say something? Josh? Oh. Josh can't hear me yet.
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you, if you can hear me.
Josh, can you try talking again?
Can you hear me?
Dang it, I can't hear you. All right, it's got to be these headphones. Give me one moment. And I will try to figure out some other audio situation. I may have to play audio with a bit of a lag, so we'll see how this goes.
Okay.
How about now, Josh? So what stands out about this resume for you?
Can you hear me?
No, I can't hear you, but we will go forward. There we go. Yeah, just go ahead and talk. I'll figure out a way to hear you.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we're kind of getting into a theme here based on some of the resumes that have been submitted that it's a similar format, right? You've got summary skills, project experience, and I'm automatically thinking, oh, this is another Turing grad, which is cool. I like the structure helps. Breaking it down into different sections like that. I like the summary is brief and to the point. So that's nice. That was kind of what we had said in the last one. That might have been a little bit too long. And yeah, I mean, I would call. I like the formatting, like of maybe the last resume a little bit better than this one, just as far as layout goes and organization. But overall, I'll give this person a call.
All right, so there's going to be a little bit of a lag between when Josh talks and when I say something, just because of I've got to listen to him through a different browser, but we will get that figured out. Don't worry. Yeah, to me, this resume feels like a carbon copy of one that we saw earlier. Like the layout is very similar, with the 4-column skills. But again, kind of like we were saying, like the languages and the frameworks are kind of like mashed together. Like it's not as clear to see like, oh, these are the languages these are the frameworks you've used. But yeah, I like that there is a summary and it's very brief. And so it's nice to see like, oh, just really quick, this is what you're bringing to the team. I've always had a passion for being challenged and thinking about how products I fit. Yeah, I mean, I like that this person seems to care about the sort of the mission of what they're building. And so I think that's pretty cool. For those that are listening, if you are in chat, you can type !ticket or !enter to actually enter the giveaway. You don't need to follow in order to do the giveaway, but I always appreciate follows, so thanks for the follow just now. But yeah, you can enter the giveaway. We've got a whole bunch of these 3D printed dragons to give away, and we're doing them at the end of every resume as we go. So hopefully we'll get some automated messages going in chat there. But yeah, similar to that first one that we looked at, I like that they've got the GitHub link, and they've also got like a live link to click on from there. I'm not as big a fan on seeing like, oh, this project took 10 days to build. It's like, you can tell me that when you get me on the phone and be like, yeah, you see all that thing I built? 10 days. It's like, oh, whoa, well, okay. But on a resume, I'm like, okay, well, if it's a 10-day project, like how good could it be? Like, and maybe if I click on it, I'd be like, okay, well, this is actually pretty nice for a 10-day project. But on a group project, I want to know like, what was your responsibility? And I also would say like, because Spot Me won first prize at Turing School, like throw some bold on there. Let me know that, like really highlight that and say this project was cool enough that it won like a competition. Like make that really, really stand out. Cool. Appreciate the follow as well, Camilo. Cool. So you can do !ticket or !enter to enter the giveaway. We got a whole bunch of these 3D printer dragons to give away. Cool. Josh, anything about this resume that stands out to you that you don't like? Anything that you would advise this person not to have on their resume?
It's more of a nit, but I would say it does feel a little scrunched in the project section. Like I'd like a little bit more spacing there just to consume the content a little bit easier. It kind of looks like we're just trying to fit it on one page, which happens, but a little more spacing I think helps the user or the resume reviewer kind of read through things.
Cool. I hope that was wise and insightful. There's enough of a lag that you stopped talking while there was still my previous audio playing, so I had you muted the whole time. But I hope others are finding that helpful. I'm gonna have to figure out a headphone situation here in a moment, but I will get that figured out. It's definitely on me. It's not on Josh. Definitely something on my side with audio routing for some reason. Decided to go a little haywire on me. So I'm gonna try to continue fixing that out. So yeah, so Camilo, you did enter. You can only enter one time. And then over the course of the evening, everybody that enters, if you're still in chat at the end, I've got a really big prize to give away, which is also dragon themed. But you got to stay to the end because I'm going to do that drawing at the very end once everybody else gets going. All right, so let's see. Josh, hold up some fingers for me on a number. Oh, wait, I got to go find that window. Too many windows. I got to like organize my windows a little bit better when I'm doing these things. There we go. Josh, hold up some fingers, number from 1 to 10. Number 10. All right. X90. X, are you in chat? You still around? Hanging out with us? X, if you were in chat. X90, ECKS90. Let me know you're there. You have won a dragon, potentially. All right, you were there. Congrats. Right now, there are fewer people in the giveaway than there are dragons to give away. And so you have a really, really good chance of winning a dragon by the end of the night. So this is fun. X, do you have a preference on size of dragon, color of dragon, anything like that that you would like to choose? Go ahead and so drop the size, drop the color, and then make sure you DM me your mailing address. Large and red. I have two of them. So I have two of these really large red and gold dragons. So I will set one of them aside for you. Awesome. All right. And then X, you also get to choose our next resume. So a random number from 1 to 12 that is not 6, 7, 9, or 10. Drop that in chat for us as well. And you will pick our next resume. Josh, how are you doing on time? Give me a thumbs up if you're okay on time. Yeah? All right, cool. Number 1. Resume number 1, Josh.
Okay.
While Josh is looking at that, I'm going to continue to scramble and find out why I cannot hear Josh. What do you think, Josh? Any first impressions?
Yeah, it's a different design and style, which is, you know, anything that kind of gets you out of the standard zone sometimes kind of wakes you up and be like, oh, what's this style and format? So that's always, I think, good. I'm not like the biggest fan of this of how it's laid out per se, but it is different, so that has that going for it.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know, and then I'm trying to figure out which do I go counterclockwise or clockwise to kind of tell the story. So that's a little bit sometimes tricky as well, left to right or right to left or whatever. And compared to, because now we've seen, a few of it's hard for me to say, well, this one specifically aside, would I be interested in or call or not? Because now I'm comparing against the other people I've seen, which is reality, right? So in this case, I feel like it's another Turing grad, which is great. But I am kind of leaning more towards the way that it was laid out and the different styles and how it told the story. I'm leaning a little bit more towards the previous resumes. So this one's like, oh, maybe now this is in the maybe pile. But it's not a no, right? It's kind of like, because I'm comparing and contrasting, it starts sort of losing its luster a little bit.
Yeah, I get that, and I can hear you now, which is fantastic.
Nice.
Yeah, I like that the layout is a little bit different too. I've also heard that applicant tracking systems, if it sees a two-column layout, it'll actually bias for content on the right and expect that that left column is actually going to be like a really skinny column of maybe less important detail as far as like giving weight to the keywords that it's finding. I don't know that for sure. I haven't heard like really in-depth analysis on that, but it's one rumor that I've heard about ATS systems. Me personally, I'm not a fan of the numbering on the area of expertise. It doesn't make sense to me. Like why are there numbers there? Like it's fine if you know HTML and then CSS if those are like your top skills, but I would hope that if you're applying for a front end developer job, like if I'm looking for JavaScript, JavaScript should be at the top of that list. If I'm looking for Ruby, Ruby should be at the top of that list. Like whatever skills I'm looking for, it's fine if you've got other skills, but the skills I'm looking for should be very prominent. Like yes, I am that type of person, or I have that kind of skill. That would be the things that I would point out there. The career history, they're kind of listing Turing as career, which is not accurate, and I think that that's a bit of a misrepresentation. I know some code schools just say like, oh yeah, put us down as experience. I mean, you're here like 80 hours a week anyway. But I think for me, like I would want to see that as education. So I would put Turing itself under academic history, although it is also under academic history now that I scan it. But the career history, um, I would probably like put project work on there instead. Like put that recent work up where you've got like career history. And I think some of the non-related, like non-technical work could probably be down towards the bottom. I mean, I'm a big fan of Hapa Sushi, and so is Josh. We're big fans of Hapa, but I think as well, like you're a front end developer now. You don't need to give me 3 bullet points on working at a sushi restaurant. Just tell me you worked at a sushi restaurant. Like I'm probably gonna guess based on being called a pastry chef or a food runner. Like I got a pretty good idea what that is, and so you don't have to give me like tons of bullet points about what you did at the job. Now, if there's something quantifiable about I worked with customers and so on, then yeah, absolutely put that on there. And it is important that that you can show us that I have been gainfully employed. I have been trusted by an employer, and handled money and handled customers and things like that. So I'm not saying take it off completely, but I think you could minimize how much you talk about those previous roles because they're not technical, and put them down towards the bottom of the page. Otherwise, you're kind of giving more emphasis to them as a job, which to me as a technical hiring manager, like it's not as important. I would want to see like the more important stuff, like are you a good fit for my job, and less so about like where else have you worked out. I would see that as more of a Josh type of thing. Like Josh would be looking for previous employment and ask about like the behavioral questions about tell me about a time when you had to deal with a bad customer or something. You've got those kinds of experiences. I'm less likely to be asking you those behavioral questions. So that'd be a couple things I would point out there. Um, Josh, any other thoughts?
Yeah, now that I'm looking at it more, I'm kind of unfortunately kind of moving it a little bit more into the no pile, because there's some grammar and font, and so it's, and those don't necessarily, like, sometimes that happens, but um, you gotta have someone proofread it. So there's like a colon after linger, but not after hoppa, and then there's like a space between sake and restaurant, and then looks like there's like different fonts being used, and
Lots of different
bolding things that,
sizes.
yeah, it's just like it needs that type of review, I think. more so than, I talked about the layout at first, but now I'm just like, no, it needs some proofreading for sure.
Yeah, and for that kind of thing in programming, like attention to detail is a big thing. And so like seeing like how you're using punctuation or where you're doing bold and things like that, I wouldn't necessarily disqualify it. But Taiwanese name actually asked a good kind of follow-up question in chat and said, if I'm switching career, should I omit the unrelated past employment and instead explain the situation in a cover letter? Um, oh, and then followed up like, yeah, just put the unrelated stuff at the bottom. Um, in my own career, I have made a 2-page resume where page 1 is like, this is all the most relevant stuff you need to know about me. Like if you really only want a 1-page resume and you want to throw out my page 2, you have everything you need to know about me wanting that role on page 1, and page 2 is like everything else that I want you to see. But page 1 should be all the things that you should see. And so I generally advise those kinds of things as well. Creative Null follows up and says, if I'm applying for a job where the job description is vague in terms of what they're looking for in a candidate, is it still worth it to submit my resume? What I mean is that my resume needs to be tailored for the job, but if there isn't that much of a description, how do you tailor the resume basically? That can be a really good question. I have seen job requirements where the actual, like, this is what we want from you as a candidate is actually fairly short, and most of the job posts is like, this is why we're awesome as a company. And it is a little bit disappointing that they don't tell you a whole lot about that. Like maybe it'll be a little bit about, their tech stack, and some of the skills that they're looking for. I would say that's more on them than it is on you. Like do the best you can to, like, you don't want to give them a completely generic resume. But if they really haven't given you enough content in the job post to know how to sort of craft your resume or cover letter specifically for that role, then you can only do as much as you can do. And if they call, they call. If they don't, they didn't have good information in the first place. So it's not your fault either way, I think. So I think that, there's a bit of a takeaway that you can do there. Josh, any thoughts on how to answer that question?
Yeah, maybe you can just. I think that was a great answer. And I would just say yes, and they could put something within their application or their cover letter again, and just say like, "Hey, I wasn't quite sure the specifics, and maybe I have a few questions about the role and how that maps to my background, or just something that would call that out as a conversation starter might be a good use of time."
Awesome. All right. So that was resume number 1. And let's see. So if you're in chat and you want to hang out and you want to qualify for this giveaway that we got going on, make sure that you do !ticket or !enter to get a ticket. You can only get 1 ticket. And we're just kind of randomly drawing names here. And at the end, I've got like a really big giveaway to do. So Josh, we need another winner. So give me a random number 1 to 10.
4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Stephen Hungry. Stephen Hungry, you have potentially won a dragon if you are still in chat. So Stephen, if you were there, go ahead and drop a note. Let us know you're there. TK Shillings, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. If you want to enter, you don't have to follow to enter, but I appreciate the follows. You can just do bang ticket or bang enter, and that'll get you a ticket for the giveaway. And I still got a whole bunch of these things to give away, and we'll just give them away till we shut down for the night. So, Stephen Hungry, going once, going twice. We'll let that one linger for a little bit. Hopefully they're still there. Let's see if I can see them in a live chat. Stephen Hungry. I do not see them in the list of online users. Stephen Hungry is not available. So Stephen Hungry does not win a dragon at this point. If they come back, they have the opportunity to win later. So let's give us another winner, Josh.
We'll double it up. Go to 8.
Number 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8 is Zooey. Zooey222. Zooey, still hanging out with us? Let us know in chat if you're there. And if you're there, what size of dragon do you want? You want big or small? And then what color scheme would you like? And we'll see if we can get those matched up. And then make sure that you DM me a mailing address, although I think I might have yours because I've got your real resume. But send me your actual mailing address on LinkedIn because we chat on LinkedIn all the time. Woo boo. Yeah, woohoo even. Cool. So Zooey's here. So Zooey, do you want big dragon, little dragon? What kind of color scheme do you want? I've got big and small in the rust and gold. I've got big and small in the gold and red. I have another rainbow one. I've got kind of shiny black color, and these are both in the small size, so you get a bunch of those figurines. And then I got a couple more of the big red and gold and rust and gold and black dragons. Do we have any more of the temperature changing ones? I do not. I only printed one of those, unfortunately. I could print another one, but it'll take like an extra 2 days to print and get out to you. So if you want that, I will make one. Otherwise, shiny black. So you choose. Do you want me to make you a temperature changing one? Actually, you know what? Strike that. I have no idea where my temperature changing filament went because my niece wants something in temperature changing filament and I can't find it. So I will give you the shiny black one. All right, so shiny black for Dewey, as well as some figurines. And then Zooey, you also get to choose our next resume. And so give us a number from 1 to 12, and I will let you know if we hit a duplicate at all. And I've got an automated chat bot reminder thing. If you've got questions about the HR process or the hiring manager from my side on the technical side, please drop those in chat. We're happy to answer those questions as we go to. Zooey says resume number 2. Resume number 2, Josh. Maybe we'll do a couple more and then we'll ease up on the resume reviews. But for now, we will go with number 2. Then we can just kind of kick it because I do want to ask Josh all those silly questions that I love asking in when I have guests on the stream. Plus, that'll let us get to all the giveaways much faster. All right, Josh. First impressions. What do you think?
I like the color. I like the technical. I don't mind the technical skills part because it's again categorized front end, back end testing, so that's a little bit easier to consume. I was stuck on software engineering applications as a headline, as a header. Like I was like, what does that mean exactly? But it just kind of, maybe it's just like, here's what I worked, here's what projects I worked on or products.
Looks like project work, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just kind of confusing of why that's a header. It's just a different header. And this is the first one that has a couple things about this person personally, like things that they're interested outside of typing on a keyboard, which I appreciate sometimes because it gets, pulls me in, draws a connection a little bit, gets me to understand this person a bit better. So, and then it's just a little scrunched. Like there's a lot of, it's all trying to fit onto one page again, but
there's a lot of content on here. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe ways to make it more concise.
Yep. Yeah, that was the first thing I noticed too. Is there's a lot of words here. My opinion, bullet points should not wrap. Bullet points got their name from being fast and impactful, like a bullet. And so they don't need to be grammatically correct sentences. And I generally wouldn't advise making a bullet point go like more than maybe 3/4 of the width of the page. Because again, like we mentioned earlier, we're not reading every word on here anyway. We're making a really snap judgment on should I call Bob Anon or not. And if I do, great. At that point, like later, once I actually schedule that call, then I'm actually probably reading the resume like more thoroughly. But even then, there's a lot of content on here. And kind of like what Josh and I mentioned in a previous resume, we're going to get lost on a lot of this stuff. And we're just going to be like, yeah, okay, words. And we're going to miss a lot of the detail on here. So while the applicant tracking system is going to pick up keywords, you don't want to bore us. And so I would say like just maybe find ways of reducing the text on the page. And I think that'll also help space things out a little bit and get a little more like positive and negative space use on the page. Because, yeah, otherwise it does feel like you're trying to cram quite a lot on here.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. All right. Well, let's speed things up along here, and let's do another giveaway. So we still have 10 entrants. We have more than 10 people in chat, and so if you're hanging out in chat and you want to win a dragon, type !ticket, !enter, and then we will get another drawing. So Josh, give us another winner from 1 to 10.
9.
Number 9. That would have been X90. X is already 1. So let's go again.
2.
Number 2. Danger Box. Danger Box. If you are in chat, you have won a dragon. Danger Box, are you there? Let us know in chat if you're there, Danger Box. You have potentially won a dragon. Let's check the users in chat. They are still listed as a user in chat. Danger Box, you are there. Hooray. All right. Let us know what size of dragon you want and what color you want. I've got one more in rainbow. And then I'm pretty sure everything that's left is going to be the rust red charcoal color or the red and gold color. And so I've got a lot of options in small and size in all of those. Small, rusty one. Okay. Small, rusty. You got it. I hope you call them rusty. All right. And then, like I mentioned, you'll get figurines. Everybody's also getting a ton of these snowflakes in various colors because I've printed dozens and dozens of too many of those. All right. And then Danger Box, you also get to choose our next resume. So give us another random number from 1 to 12, and I will let you know if it's a duplicate. And then let's see, that'll be our 7th resume. I think maybe we'll do 8 resumes, and then we'll call it from there. And then we'll just hang out on the chat. And then if you've got questions for HR, you got questions about tech, if you got just general interview prep, or if you want me to just kind of rapid fire through these, we can let Josh get back to life on his side. And Josh, I'm gonna send you one of these too. So let me know your mailing address. I'll send you one, and let me know if I can like 3D print something in golf for your youngin. See if they would appreciate something. Number 5, resume number 5.
Okay.
Big thank you to everybody hanging out in chat and for participating in chat. This is great. Hope you're all having a good week. And remember to hydrate. Alrighty, Josh. What do you think? First impressions?
I actually, I like something about like the hello, just makes it sound inviting and just like I'm talking to someone. It's a good introduction. I'm not saying everyone needs to do it. It's more of like a stylistic thing. If it fits like your personality, maybe do something like that. But it's a nice change up when you're looking at a resume. It kind of catches your eye and a little bit of freshness. And then, there's some good blocking here, so I'm able to kind of digest the information. It's not all just like one big run on. Like the last one kind of felt a little bit too scrunched that way. So this is spread out and spaced out. But I also think that's then when you get into the different sections, they all kind of look different, like different font sizes, different ways to introduce the information, especially in the experience and project. In the experience, I'm like squinting at it, which is never a great thing to do. So that's what I like. That's what I don't like as much.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a very different layout, and that's enough to kind of like, oh, this is kind of a refreshing change. But there's a lot of font size changes on here, and there's like a lot of like all caps kind of mixed in with not caps and bold and things like that. So I would probably like standardize on the font a little bit more, but nothing drastically that makes me go like, oh, I don't want to call this person because of that. They've also got both front end and back end, so I would consider, like, if they are a front end developer and they're making a lot of these choices on a resume as far as like font sizes and layout and things like that, it's like, okay, well, they've got a good eye for layout, but at the same time, like all these font changes and stuff would make a UI look really busy. And one of my favorite sayings, I think I actually learned this at SendGrid, UI is like a joke. If you have to explain it, it's not very good. And so, like, my worry would be if I'm hiring for a front end developer, then making all these choices on a resume of like just constantly changing the font and constantly changing the size and constantly changing caps and not caps. I would worry a little bit about what kind of front end interfaces you make, especially since this, Hillary has professional experience in only one project on here. That would only give me one opportunity to potentially see what kind of, like, what their work actually looks like. But I actually know Hillary because Hillary was one of my students. So I'm also a little bit biased on some of that. But and that project that Hillary made is actually really, really good, and it was an important project for Turing to use. But aside from that, like, otherwise, pretty good attention to detail as far as like listing out the technical skills. But again, it's kind of, there's SOQL, and unless that's like something specific to like Salesforce, like, was that meant to be SQL? In which case it's a typo, and again, it's an eye for detail. But otherwise, like, a lot of the stuff on here is, again, it's kind of like language. I don't know what Apex is. SQL is a language. React's a framework. Ruby on Rails is language and framework. Then languages, then framework, and then tool, and then back to a library. So, like, maybe a way of like grouping those up a little bit. Again, it just makes it a little bit easier for us to see. But if I was hiring like a JavaScript developer that had like some SQL, backend, this would definitely stand out, especially with the Salesforce experience for sure. Cool. All right. Let's see. Just seeing if there's anything in chat. SOQL. X says Salesforce Object Query Language. Cool. Good to know. Again, that would be something where maybe you need to explain like what those letters mean. If I was looking for a Salesforce person, then that would mean something to me. But if I wasn't looking for Salesforce and I only know SQL, then I'm like, what's this SOQL? Did they make a typo? Now I'm left wondering like what was going on with that. So just something to be aware of there. Cool. All right. Let's do another drawing. Josh, you want to pick another winner for us? We have 11. Yeah. We have 11 entrants now.
Ooh, nice. Let's do 6.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Would have been creative null. So okay. We'll just back up and we'll say, it's me, CSV. It's me. It's a me, Mario. It's me, CSV. If you are still in chat, let us know that you're in chat. I will do a quick check. They are showing up as a user in chat. If you are in chat and you have not entered the contest, because I see your names, I can see you, I know you're there, do a bang ticket. I'm going to send these to you for free. There's no cost, there's no obligation whatsoever. You don't even have to follow me. I'm willing to just give these away. Just type bang ticket or bang enter in the chat and get your name in there. And I've got a really, really big giveaway that I'm going to talk about after the next resume. Trash Dev, you are not late. You can definitely get in on the giveaway. It's good to see you. It's me, CSV. You are there. All right. Cool. So it's me, CSV. Need to know what size of dragon you want. We have the rust. We have the red and gold, and I have one small one left in rainbow. So I've got one more in kind of this rainbow silk color, which is kind of a silky lavender to blue to gold, which is a pretty cool combination. If you want the rainbow one, otherwise I've got the rusty rust gold charcoal, which are really amazing in different sizes, or I've got red and gold. So you get to pick. Yeah, you won. It's me, CSV. That's why I've been saying your name over and over. You have won a dragon. So you need to let me know what size of dragon, what color of dragon, and I will get all this stuff boxed up, and make sure that you DM me an address so that I know where to send it. You want the rainbow one? Okay, cool. The rainbow one is yours. And because it is a smaller model, I will also include for free a handful of these little figurines. I've got like little horses and Pegasus unicorns, and I'm just going to pick a bunch of these at random and throw them in the box. And everybody also gets a whole bunch of these snowflakes in the box as well. in various colors. So you wanted the last rainbow in the small size. Cool. All right, we're getting down to it. I think I got like 3 or 4 of these left. We're gonna do one more resume, and then I think we're just gonna blitz the giveaways. And then everybody that enters for the giveaway, I've got like a really big prize to give away. And so we're gonna draw from like all the names. So even if you've already won one of these dragons, you're gonna have the opportunity to win this other big thing that I have. So definitely get your tickets in. If you are in chat and you have not entered, you need to enter, and then we will do that that giveaway. All right. It's me, CSV. You had your headset off. So we've been telling you all this helpful advice, and you're not even listening to us. I see how it is. Cool. Well, it's me, CSV. You also get to pick the next resume that we work on. So we've only got a handful left. So I need a random number of 3, 4, 8, 11, or 12. So just give us a random number from 1 to 12. I'll tell you if it's a duplicate or not. Taiwanese name. Be nice in chat. It's all good. Lucky number 4. All right, Josh, our last resume for the night will be number 4.
All right.
And then we will kind of rapid fire some of our giveaway from here. All right, we got John Smith. So Josh is our HR person. So for those that have joined chat, Josh is a friend of mine who works in HR. He's been in HR for many, many, many years. And so he's giving us HR's take on a tech resume, and then I give my take as a hiring manager and like how we kind of go back and forth on what we like and what we don't like, just as kind of the initial screen to know if we even want to call you. And then if you want like a full resume review, if you ever want me to do a resume review, I just put a link in chat. You can submit a resume to me there at any point, and I will get that on the live stream, and I'll do like a 20 to 30 minute review on every resume that comes in. I'm happy to go through a lot of details as far as like what I look for as a hiring manager in engineering. So I'm happy to do that. Otherwise, Josh, first impressions. What do you think of John Smith here in Town State, USA?
Never been there.
Either.
It's nice though.
Only 123 Main Street, but yeah.
That's right. Yeah, I think it's okay. Pretty standard kind of format of a resume. Kind of a little bit more like just basic. I do like again calling out sort of the toolkit. Another interesting way to describe that section, technical toolkit.
Mm-hmm.
But at least it's categorized front and back end testing, whatever.
Right.
And then it's interesting to kind of have experience, projects, and education all in one kind of like flow after that. Because honestly, I kind of didn't look at experience, projects, and education because then I was like kind of darting around because like, oh, he has his education there, and then like,
right.
Oh, there's past experience, and then it looks like and then he got into some of the technical work. So somehow to separate those, I think would be better.
Yeah, me too.
For me or just for the reader.
Yep. Yeah, that definitely stood out to me too. Is like, why mix all this stuff up? Like, we need to see like, well, for me, when I look at a resume, I look at what skills do you claim to have, where have you used those skills, and then like, do you have work experience, and where did you learn those skills? But if you're mixing all these things together, it makes it harder to do that. Now, you did kind of highlight, well, assuming John Smith is even like watching this, but John Smith highlighted, see if I can highlight it here. They highlighted like a bunch of things in bold, like under front-end developer at Company One. They highlighted like Jekyll, Netlify, CMS, HTML, CSS, and so on. And then they did the same as their teaching assistant job with React, TypeScript, MongoDB, and so on. And so they are like they do make it a little bit easier to go, oh, this is where they actually use those technical skills that they claimed up at the top. What's interesting though is they claim a lot of technical skill that aren't listed on the page. Like they claim to know Jest, but they don't tell us how. They say Git and GitHub, which they give us a GitHub link at the top, but they say team management, but okay, manage a team. I do eventually see that. But again, like you can kind of see where I've got to like jump around a lot to try to find this stuff. Like you say you know REST, but you didn't actually talk about like, is the word REST anywhere else on the page? Like it doesn't jump out to me. So like, where did you do REST like, did you build a RESTful API? Are you consuming a RESTful API? Like, in the context of backend development, like, how did you do that? You mentioned connects, which, well, in your technical toolkit, you call it connects.js, but elsewhere you just call it connects. So again, a consistency thing. Same thing with Express. It should be Express.js on the line that I've highlighted right now. You list Cypress and so on. So some of these things, like you're listing later on, and some of them you don't. I do like that you kind of spell out TDD and then test-driven development. I like that you kind of like help us with that, because again, not everybody looking at these resumes from the HR side of it are going to have the technical knowledge of what some of these terms mean. And so again, I like that you've kind of grouped them up as front end, back end. Unit testing, I think, is fine. Although I might have just called that header like test-driven development and then just list off the tools that you've done, because unit testing is kind of a type of testing. And if you've done that as part of TDD, then I would rather see TDD as the heading and then have everything else listed after that. But yeah, I mean, lots of bullet points, lots of good quantified information, like supervised a team of 11, ensured daily cleaning of 1,400. You know, so like they're getting really good quantified information. Using those really strong action verbs on a resume like really stands out. A lot of bullet points though, so I would probably see if you could like just break out the education and the work and stuff like that. Now in this case, just looking at what they've got, the fourth bullet point on the second job where they were talking about company 2, teaching assistant for tri-coding workshops. I happen to know that that's Turing. So in this case, it looks like they are a teaching assistant at Turing. And so I'm going to like expose who company 2 is, but since we don't know who John Smith is, it doesn't matter. But then we don't know, like, did they go to Turing? Did they just work at Turing? They did mentorship to over 10 students. That's fine. But again, it might be nice to see, because down at the bottom you mentioned Bachelor of Science, but like, you know, did you also go to Turing? Like, where did you learn the development skills to then get into a teaching role at Turing, you know, to work on these other skills and so on? So like that's where there's a bit of a disconnect, because you've combined all of this into one section. But yeah, it like otherwise, like it's a clean layout. Like it's easy to find information. I like that the bullet points aren't really long and wrapping around. So from that perspective, I think it's good. And, you know, a little splash of color on there is not a bad thing.
Yeah, and it is chronological. I get that now when you look, you know,
right,
front to back. So that, but it takes you a minute to even figure that out. So that's the point.
Right. Cool. I think we'll stop there as far as the resumes go. So appreciate everybody that submitted a resume. Again, if you want me to do like a full-blown resume review, I do those on the channel from time to time. So just I'll drop that link in the chat again. So drop a resume here. You can upload a copy in PDF format. We do ask that you anonymize your name, your contact info, so we're not like doxing you on the internet, because that would be a bad thing. Dangerbox asks a good question in chat. What would you say if you're self-taught? Josh, what would you expect to see on a resume? Like if you were looking for a developer to fill a development role, but that person didn't have, like, they didn't go to a code school, or they did something like Free Code Camp where it was like all self-paced, all self-taught, self-managed. What would you expect to see, or what would you advise someone to put on a resume for that?
Just to be honest, I think, you know, some of the smartest people I've worked with haven't gone to traditional schooling or even coding school, and are self-taught. So I think it's just a matter of telling that story through your resume, I guess, or a cover letter, and just, you know, emphasizing kind of the projects that you've worked on, or even being honest to say, like, you know, that this is what I know being self-taught, and this is the experience I'm looking to gain. I mean, you could, I think, just kind of accepting that in a way and saying, you know, I'm looking to join a company that can take this self-taught background and, you know, and work with others now or develop these skills. So just maybe kind of telling that story would help.
Yep. Very cool. I'm just writing down everybody else's names because I had 12 dragons and we have 12 people in the drawing. So I get to play Oprah. So thank you for letting me play Oprah tonight. You get a dragon, and you get a dragon, and you get a dragon. Like, everybody wins a dragon. So DM me a mailing address. Well, at least if you entered. So I will need to figure out Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm missing one. Who did I miss on the list? So we'll just go from the top. So Trash Dev, you get to pick size and color. I've only got the red and gold or the rust and gold and black colors left. And so Trash Dev, you get to pick first whether you want the rusty one or the gold and red, and then what size. And then I'm just going to go down the list from there. Gotta figure out who else is on the list here that didn't win. So yeah, everybody wins a dragon. And then I will talk about the gigantic giveaway that we have. So everybody that has entered will also be able to win something really cool.
That's awesome.
Trash Dev. Trash Dev. Trash Dev is no longer in chat. All right, so Trash Dev doesn't get to win a dragon. That's okay. Inquisitive LOL. You are the next one on the list. Oh, Trash Dev went back down pack. Yeah, so Trash Dev just moved. Ping Trash Dev on Discord and let him know he won. Or actually, you know what? I'll just reach out to him and I'll just give him whatever's left in the box. He can have that one. Inquisitive LOL. You are up next, so you get to choose which color and which size. And as you choose, there will be less choice for the remaining winners. I also have to figure out who the 12th person is. Oh, what I miss? You're unpacking. You won. So actually everybody wins at this point because there were only 12 people that entered. So I have closed the giveaway. But yeah, everybody wins. Unfortunately, it's only showing me 10 of the 12 entrants. So I'm not sure who else I'm missing. So they are the ones in the photo. So the only ones I have left are kind of these rusty, like gold, rust, and charcoal color, or this red and gold color. And I've got them in large size, which are 24 inches long, and I've got small size, which are 18 inches long, and the small ones come with a bunch of other figurines. And then you also have to DM me, and you can do that on Discord if you're in Trash Dev's Discord, or you can DM me on Twitch. Need a mailing address to send these. Which one is the charcoal? So you want the charcoal one? Okay. And then do you want large or small, Trash Dev? And Inquisitive would like a copper gold one. So they're the red and gold, or the charcoal and gold. Inquisitive. Trash Dev wants a large one. Inquisitive, and then next will be Chromillo and Altran 32. If you were both there, let me know what color you would like and what size. So Inquisitive LOL, need to know, do you want the red and gold? Josh, question for you from Danger Box. What is the thing that is an immediate pass? And what is an almost always gets through? Do you have like things that if you see that you're like, nah, no way, and things where you're like, yes, absolutely, I need to call this person?
I think it's probably you know, the typos and the attention to detail and just sort of the formatting and the quality of your resume is an automatic pass for me. And we pointed out a couple that were like, you know, listen, you got to pay attention to this, the font size, whatever. But if there's more than a few of that, I'm automatically passing. And sometimes people will send in resumes that get screwed up formatting wise in ATSs, which is
yeah, super disappointing.
You can sometimes see that and be like, this was a system formatting situation. But other times people will apply with just a very, very poorly written formatted resume, and I'm like, nope, next. And that takes me a second to figure out. The automatically yes, I don't know. I think that's too hard. I think you see examples of the things that we're looking for in the last hour or so that allow things to automatically go to yes. And I think a lot of it is just how are we intaking this information? A lot of it is that structure around the content that you have there and how you're presenting it.
Mhm. Cool.
I
Yeah.
don't have like oh, if they came from this background or this school or this.
I mean,
Nope.
unfortunately there are people who are like, oh, you didn't go to this really awesome name brand school, so I'm not even going to consider you, or oh, you don't have a degree, and therefore I'm not going to consider you for this HTML role. It's like, why do I need a degree for that? That was one of my beefs at SendGrid. Actually, we had an engineering manager who insisted that everybody had to have a CS degree, and I tried arguing several times. I'm like, they don't need a CS degree for what we have them doing on the team. They do not need a CS degree. And they're like, everybody must have a CS degree. Like, we're going to lose out on so many good people, and I'm sure that we did, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Cold Driver. I wrote seminaries instead of seminars in my first draft of my resume and didn't catch it for a long time. Yeah, that's that's why you want people to sort of proofread them for you. Cool. So I'm only able to see 10 of 12 people who have entered. So if I have not already given your name and you know that you have entered, like Cold River, did you try to enter? Cold River, do like a bang ticket or bang enter for me. We'll get you in the list here too. So I've got a few of these things left. Let's see, Camillo, I'm still waiting to find out from you. Did you want the black and gold or the red and gold? Because you just said gold for me, and they all have gold. So I need you to be a little more specific on that one. Oh, yeah, I guess I shut down the giveaway. I'll just add you to the list. Camillo, I need to know which one you want and what size. And then Altran, if you're there, I haven't seen Altran say anything in chat. They are still listed. But Cold River, you have the choice of the rust gold charcoal or the gold and red dragon and a size. So Camillo wants red and gold large. All right, so let me set these aside. So Trash Dev wanted the large charcoal, and then Inquisitive wanted the small red and gold, and Camillo wanted a large red. We have 2 dragons left, and they are both large size. One is rust and one is red. So Altran and Cold River, you get to choose. And oh, there's Altran. You want the rust one? Okay. So you get the rust large. Cold River, then you get the red and gold in large. All right. Let's talk about the big giveaway. Let's talk about the big giveaway. Ready? Here it is. Right here. This is the big giveaway. There you go. Tiny little horns. Tiny little horns. For this big dragon that I have painted to basically be Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon, with a little red flag on his tail, with the green eyeballs, and there's a little bit of purple in his mouth. The wings will come off for shipping, and then once you get it, you can crazy glue it back together. But the rest of the body is assembled. But the wings will come off for transport, and it looks black, but it's a really, really dark purple. You can kind of see the wing in this light. It's actually a very, very dark purple, and this is our big giveaway. And so these horns, basically, they're large horns that go on the back of the head, and a smaller horn that goes on the bottom of the jaw, and then there are little horns that go off of each of the tips of the wing. And this is going to go to someone whose name I'm about to draw from our overall contest. So let me, just to show that I'm not cheating anybody here, here's our giveaway, and I'm about to draw a winner. Josh, give us a drum roll, and I'm going to draw the winner, and you are also going to get this in your box. So whoever won, whoever entered, you got about 3 seconds if you have not yet entered the draw. All right, Josh, give us a drum roll. Altran 32, you win the not so toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm going to get this boxed up. So make sure that you DM me a shipping address so that I can ship all this other stuff to you. As a reminder, everyone's going to get a handful of these snowflakes that I've got hanging up on the wall back there, just because I printed like almost 100 of these and have no use for them now. I actually took a bunch of them to my physical therapist today, and they hung them on the wall, so they were thankful for that. So yeah, Altran, you get a really, really kick-butt dragon. This was really, really fun to print. This is about 70 to 80 hours of print time. And
Wow.
the detail on this is like really, really fantastic as far as like just the scales and everything else. And the cool thing about this too, Altran, if you're into painting, this takes acrylic paint really well. So you can see I've kind of painted some dirt on the ground, painted his eyes, painted some of his teeth, painted his tail. And so you can add your own acrylic paint to this at any time. So that's going to come your way, Altran. So thanks for being in chat. Thanks to everybody who entered. I got to shut off those chat bots so they stop spamming everybody that the giveaway is going on. Josh, thank you so much for your time tonight. It's always fun to hear other people's perspectives on what to look for in a resume, what makes a good resume, what doesn't make a good resume, what's good or bad, or what stands out. I always appreciate hearing someone from HR as well, because I've had others on the stream that come from an engineering background. And they get to tell us like what they look for from an engineering perspective, but it's nice having a non-engineering perspective as well. So definitely appreciate your time. I know we went kind of later than I thought we would, but appreciate your time, man. It was so great to catch up a little bit. Definitely grab some lunch. I'm fun employed now, so let's if you're back in Colorado, let's grab some lunch or something. Let me know what your schedule is like over the next couple of days, and we'll grab a bite.
Would love to.
We'll go to Hapa. We'll go to Hapa.
There you go.
Yeah.
Now you got me craving sushi.
Awesome.
Yeah, no, 100%. Thanks for having me, Ian, and it was fun.
For sure.
And anytime.
Yeah. All right, and a whole bunch of people say thank you directly to you, Josh, for spending time as well. So thanks again. We'll see you all on Sunday. Sunday we'll do probably Q&A sessions. So keep sending those questions in. You can contact me on LinkedIn, on Twitter. If I'm on like one of your Discords, you can DM me questions on Discord, and I will do just Q&A Sunday night. And if you send me resumes, then I will also work in some resume reviews. And I also love, as you saw tonight, I love doing interactive chat. So if you drop questions in chat, we'll definitely answer those. Aside from that, thanks everybody. I'm going to go find someone to raid, unless anybody has somebody that we should raid. Drop in chat if there's somebody that we should go raid. Otherwise, I'm just going to see like who else is online and available. Chris Perillo is still online. Sith Lord Brit's online. Most of the people I follow are not online. So Finite Singularity. All right, we'll go raid Finite Singularity. Cool. All right, well, that raid is set up. Thanks again, everybody, for hanging out. I will get these dragons out over the next couple of days. And so expect a box in the mail. They will be about this size, except for Altran. Your box is going to be much bigger. Everyone else is going to get a box about this size, and everything will be lovingly wrapped and very well protected to make sure that it shows up in one piece. So make sure you DM me an address. If you don't, I've got your Twitch handles, and I will harass you because I really want to send these out. So make sure you DM me a mailing address so that I can get these sent to you. You can DM me directly on Twitch. If you follow me on LinkedIn or Twitter, you can DM me there. But let me know a mailing address of where to send this stuff. Altran, I will get all this stuff boxed up. It may take a little longer to get to you because the box will be a little bigger, but I will get this stuff mailed out probably on or before the weekend. All right, cool. We're going to go raid Finite Singularity. Thanks, everyone, for hanging out. We'll see you next time. Thanks again, Josh.
Thanks. Yeah, thanks for having me.
See you, everyone.
See you.